example of the Islam Brotherhood in the Arab Spring. That is what made the movement succeed. So even us, it is just thinking out of the box how we can make these demonstrations very safe. Like the Islam Brotherhood movements that were being done in the mosque, being done in the mosque. So if we can go into this religion, we get out of the demonstrations that go in the streets, because the Kenyan government or people have alleged that they infiltrate the demonstration, they plant people in the demonstrations so that they use bullets. This is why we need to think out of the box how we do our demos in a way that it cannot be infiltrated, and it can be safe. And so it can be even out of this the CBD or occupy this or occupy the State House or occupy the Parliament. So we retreat from that form of demonstration. And good enough, this government as well has agreed or has banned fundraising in churches.
Yes, they have.
And now we go even a step further. Ban politicians on the pulpits. Ban them on the pulpit. And the movement goes into mainstreamed in all churches.
Could that force it underground? If you ban it on pulpits, you ban it in churches, you ban it into areas, then people start meeting to organize certain things that becomes difficult. I mean, in South Africa, this is what happened years ago anyway. Their case was different. The Mandelas in the early 60s and the 50s, when the South African government banned all forms of demonstrations, all forms of, and in the end, that was the beginning, the biggest creation of our party.
I'm not talking
about politicians.
I'm not talking about banning demonstrations. I'm talking banning politicians from the pulpit. Using the pulpit. Banning there has been an agreement that now they will not fundraise. But we should go a step further, ban them from what did I say? Ban them from pulpit, from the pulpit.
That is number one. They should ban them from the pulpit.
So what happened on Sabasaba Day this Sunday is exactly what I'm trying to say can be the solution. We mainstream the movement of Generation Z in safe, protected areas. If we are organizing even a gathering, it would be like the memorial service that was done in Uhuru Park. Uhuru Park is a place that can be protected with barricades.
In fact, that is a picture that from Uhuru Park.
Absolutely.
There was so many people, and these people, this was organized within 48 hours.
Whoa.
48 hours, and they got more than 100,000 people were there, youths. 48 hours, and it was safe. And they asked the police to stay outside the fence, so they were not inside. And it was a safe place for them. So yes, I do understand what you're saying. And peaceful demonstration is in the Constitution. So I don't understand why something in this Constitution can turn so bloody within seconds. And that's, again, they're not listening. Because when the youths came out, when the Gen Zs came out the first time, all they had was a flag and a bottle of water. But they were still killed. They were still shot.
Very sad.
It's in Domain, it's out there. Larry Madowo, in his X, right? He put a video of him looking at one guy, he was wearing white, and saying that they filmed the guy wearing white, he was jumping, all he had in his hands was a flag, and he was jumping and saying, yes, reject the bill. The next minute, the guy was shot next to them.
Just
two people
like
were shot near Larry Madowo. It's live, it's there on his X. Nothing was said. These people were being killed. They didn't have any weapon. They were not resisting nothing, and they were still killed. But it was a peaceful demonstration. So we are praying and asking for the government to allow them to have peaceful demonstration. I'm really happy that this was not hijacked, because even this can easily
be hijacked.
In a safe place, because they can still send goons there and they will just start probably shooting or stealing or doing something that they're not supposed to do.
Yeah.
Provoke them, and that's how everything goes bad.
In terms of achievement, do you as Kenyans but mainly believe that it has achieved its goals?
Mm-hmm.
It has achieved its goals and will achieve more. It's already achieved its goals.
You mean,
so regardless
you mean
the
demonstration?
demonstration? Yeah.
Yeah.
And from then onwards, the way forward, as you are saying, everything will be okay now. The politicians won't joke about next time. Otherwise, you're coming back on the streets.
Okay, even let me, before you answer that question, let me just read some of, because we're trying to converse with the people as well that are listening. So I just want to say thank you very much to the people who are listening. Thank you very much for your contributions. And just continue with your contribution, questions. We're here, all of us in this, we're all here together, you know, and we're learning as well as we go along. And someone say, okay, yeah, that means I've just landed now. And following from Webuye, that's in Kenya. Western Webuye. Following from Matunda House, Pali, get rid of deputy president for a full-term presidency. That's what somebody said. They feel like it's the deputy president that we should get rid of. And then someone say, how can MP be paid 2 million to say yes, and they still okay with that? Reject financial bill, reject the financial bill 2024. And someone say, following from Mombasa, Kenya, someone say Gen Z's concerns need to be heard. Everyone has responsibility to protect the young ones. I love Uganda. Are you going? Oh, Stephen. Yeah, someone is talking to you.
Yeah.
In everything in our daily life, there is politics. So people who say, I'm not a politician, and everything is about politics in our lives. Some preachers will not allow politicians to be in pulpit. Sadly, there are no rental places, and most community halls are for mosque or church. So it's important to understand the issues. So I'll leave it there. There's a lot of comments, but I'll leave it there, and I'll read some comments again later. So I'll still read your comments, but I'll just leave it there to come back to the studio. Yeah, over to you, Tigo.
Yeah, what was our point of departure?
I asked whether, with the success of the demonstrations now, the way things have gone and the success of the fact that demonstrations, the bill has been cancelled, and the Kenyan president seems to be allowing, sort of submitting that mistakes that were made and so on, and is moving on. But it's like there's more ground being taken by the demonstrators. The man has already accepted, and he has cancelled the bill, and he's even cancelled, I think, the amount of money that, you know, from what I heard, his wife's first ladies, you know, and then other bills are coming, and people, even in the MPs, have started reducing their salaries and so on, which means somewhere along the way the demonstrations are succeeding, or have succeeded, but they still want more. It's like they have given a leg and they want now the whole body.
I don't think that's what the Gen Zs are up to, that they want the whole body or they want this. It's the fact that nobody's taking responsibilities, especially for the lives that the people that are killed. That's what's annoying the Gen Zs so much. Because even when when Ruto came to talk after the first demonstration, and he came to talk, everybody's tuned in to listen to what he was going to say. And what everybody was expecting is empathy. Right? Apology. That was not there. He did not render none of those. People were expecting him to come on stage with the parents of the children that were killed. Right? The names of the children who were killed. So acknowledge that you know them. The exact number of the children who were killed. He said 6. He was so specific with number 6. But at that time, there were past more than 12 children who had died already. But he came and said 6, specific. He did not apologize. He even still said that the police did what they could. They did their best. What is their best? Their best is to kill the innocent children. Do you get what I mean? So, from his first statement when he came out, that's what annoyed people, and they said, you know what, Ruto must go. because how can you lead us and you don't even have empathy? How can you lead us and you don't even care about our lives? You know what he said too much was the 2 million. 2.4 million. In fact, he said 2.4 million business things were destroyed, money that we lost.
Yeah.
What about the lives that we lost?
I think the failure of apologizing is the fact that you're acknowledging that something went wrong.
Yeah, but your government did something wrong.
And re-acknowledgement means money. That means you got to pay compensation, because that can be used in a court of law and say, look, even the president made an apology, which meant the government was wrong. You know, so he apologized for what his government did in terms of the policy, but he didn't apologize for that, because at the end of the day, when he looked at it, probably, this is my opinion, not his opinion, by the way, but my opinion is that if he makes that apology, then it will mean he has to pay compensation for that, because it's there in Uganda as well. When people were killed in November, there was an election which was being held in November a couple of years ago, and of course the president came out and he said, look, the demonstrators came out attacking the police and so on. There was no apology as well, because they realized then, if an apology is made by the president, what follows an apology is money. You have to pay compensation to the families of those who have lost, because you're acknowledging that something went wrong. I think this is how I look at it.
But you see, as Lydia has pointed out, that even getting the number of those that were dead,
right,
even the showing of a lack of empathy, it triggered now it appears to have triggered now that everything was turned into the character and the person of the president.
Okay.
If he is even a person who should stay 1 month longer in the seat that he is.
Yeah.
Because we now had the air rent with Ruto must go. He is a liar. They started digging of matters of integrity of the president if they trusting on and believing on any word he says.
Okay.
And like I said, this is consciousness by this generation that is difficult, because lying in Africa before seems to have just been overlooked.
Something
you just overlook.
It's a normal thing.
It's a normal thing. But you look at
marginalized.
But when you extrapolate that and put it in the context of the world that Generation Z is connected with, Boris Johnson in the UK was kicked out of the office because of lying.
It's true. Well, it's a different setup in Africa.
But why should it be? Why should it be a different setup? If you want us to pay the same taxes that the so-called civilized countries are paying. So if you're saying it's a different setup, let everything be different. Do you get what I mean? Why am I being asked to pay so much taxes, and then you come back and tell me, oh, but you cannot compare this country with that country because that country is going to... I'm not comparing. There's no way I can compare Kenya and the UK. 100%, I can't do that. But if you want to tax me the same taxes as UK is taxing me, then you need to step up.
And do what you're meant to do.
And do what you're meant to do. And the thing is, Steve, and Utingo would probably say yes or no. It's not when Kenyans and we were trying to, when we were at the embassy, when people were at the embassy demonstrating, it was a peaceful demonstration. You were there, and there's a lot of Caucasian people who are coming and say, "What's going on? What's happening?" And we did not want to give them the idea that we don't want to pay taxes. Because it's not just, oh, he wants us to pay taxes. That's wrong, because countries are run by taxes.
By taxes, obviously.
You know? It's what is my taxes doing?
Absolutely.
So why do you want me to pay, even if it's 5% tax, to cater for your own life? I'm poor already. I don't even know if my child is going to school. My husband or my wife or my dad or my mom or my child was sick the other day. They died because I couldn't even afford the hospital. I took them to Kenyatta Hospital. They were in the stretcher there because that's a public hospital. Nobody cared. because they told me I have to buy, not that it happened to me, I'm just giving you a scenario.
An example,
They said I have to buy gloves. Without the gloves, the nurse cannot touch my parcel that I brought. So I need to buy gloves, I need to buy injection, and I don't have money. Yet I've paid taxes for you to use 200 million to go to America. For you to take 660 million to renovate your house. For you to pay for your private medical. I'm not supposed to pay for your private medical. You're supposed to pay that yourself. We had this MP yesterday in all this social media thing, bragging that his belt
cost this amount of money.
50,000 for his belt. And that wasn't even the problem. I said, if you have money, I've seen women who buy 2,000 pounds bag. In fact, one of my friends buy 2,000 pounds bags. But it's her money.
Exactly.
You see? The problem was not the fact that he wears 50,000 or his shoes is 70 or something was 900,000, his watch. That's not the problem. Do you know what he said? And because God is trying to expose these people one by one, before you open your mouth, you say something and maybe you think later, why did I say that? He said, what I bought with my money. That's what he said. Which means there's some things he didn't buys
with other people's money. I wanted to come in a little bit here. One of the biggest problems which I've discovered over the years doing a political program has always been that sometimes we attack the wrong people or we go to the wrong politicians. Like now, this demonstration went straight to the president. Locally here, most of the attacks would be centered on the local areas. Because when I was talking to my village, a member of my village at one point, and I asked him a question that, have you ever gone to the government or to the local member of parliament or to a local place here in the village and complained that we have a problem with the hospital? And he said, no. But you're blaming the government, but you've never complained. Because when you put pressure on the local areas where you are, about hospitals, about roads, and about that, then that message goes from being a local one to the main people who are concerned, the government, the parliament, and everywhere. Because it has to start locally. Even the Arab Spring started locally. It didn't start from the main cities. No, it started from a small place in Tunisia. And somebody started from there, burnt himself and all that. And then all the local people started. He said, no, we have had enough of these taxes. And we have had enough of this. And it started spreading. So here in the UK, the history will tell you that things that have moved on have always started from the boroughs, from the smaller town somewhere. But that seems to be Africa's biggest problem. We go to the big man, the head of state, where you are the one messing. But suddenly you may discover that money sometimes comes down to the local area and it doesn't reach there.
Do you want to answer that?
Because I discovered some of the money, my hospital in my village was getting some money. It wasn't a lot, but money was supposed to get there to buy the stuff that wasn't buying. But because nobody had followed it up, it's only when I made inquiries, I said, but can I go to the government and find out whether you got the money? That's when a personal assistant of the doctor called me aside. I said, we get, but we don't get enough. I said, but from the conversation with me as a journalist, you said you don't get anything. So locally, if something starts locally, anyway, this is my own observation. You started locally, you may discover that actually Ruto sends money to the local areas. And because nobody is following it up,
but
this
Steve,
is where the problem is.
You're missing the point. Because this thing wasn't about what the local government, what the local, how do we call them, counties. It wasn't about what counties are doing. It was about what the president said that the bill is going to cater for. Our taxes, 2024, is going to cater for. That's what started the problem. It wasn't about we don't have hospitals or we don't have roads, which we don't, but it wasn't about that. And somebody said that there's another Gen Z, remember the one, it was in Baringo, There's one girl who started this a long time ago, a Gen Z, but I think it took a lot of months before now the real Gen Z, the other Gen Zs came out. There was one girl, I think it was in Baringo. They had a meeting with the governors who came almost 2 hours late, and everything they promised is not there. And she took the microphone, and everybody was like, oh my God. She told them off, and she said, first of all, you told us to meet here at this time, and this is the time you're coming.
You're coming, yeah.
So you see, that was local. It did not go anywhere, because it's not the president who promised that he's coming at that time.
Okay.
This went viral because the president is the one who came out with his own government and his own mouth and said, this is what the bill is going to do. 660 million paying private, paying this, paying sitting allowance. What the hell? Sitting allowance? Then stand. If you can't sit, stand out for the meeting. Don't sit, please. Sitting allowance. His advisors, the advisors, what even advice did they give him? So that is what brought the uprising of the Gen Zs. So when you're saying local, you're missing the point.
No. The reason why I'm not missing the point is that we go to a bigger stage, and we forget that it's the smaller stage where we should start from. A child doesn't start walking and crawling and running. No, a child starts crawling, then slowly starts standing up, falls down, and then starts crawling, and then starts running. So that's why I'm saying that Africa's biggest problem has always been our failure to get the local, dealing with the local, and then we start going viral with everything else. Because if villagers in my village fight for something and they succeed, another village will look from there and say, hey, we meant to do this. I understand this issue of the taxes in Kenya. It was a different one. But I'm putting an overall thing, that all the fight has to start from a local level.
Let me probe some questions to see if I'm getting the context right. Let me give you an example of one of the things that really annoyed the Generation Z. For example, corruption. There was a case of a fake fertilizer, whereby the government gave a tender, procured a fertilizer supply to the entire country. But this fertilizer were fake.
It was soil.
So it was just somebody went into a quarry somewhere, were putting stones in the sand
and selling to humans.
So you are talking about the disbursement of funds from the lines from the government to the local. But I don't seem to see how it's getting into the the grievances of why people are demonstrating in Kenya.
No. I think, but this is where I say that my approach to this, has always been, would have been, because you see, when something becomes bigger, by then it's too late sometimes. So if it starts from the local level, and it grows and expands, well, it becomes bigger, and then it becomes difficult to control. And this is where corruption has been, because people are not checked from their local levels that these things are corruption. Corruption can't be fought even at the top level. It's already gone beyond. So that's why I'm saying that Africa's whole issue.
But corruption trickles from the top.
I know.
You cannot start tackling corruption from down. Because even if I take my preferences to my local governor or chief or whatever in my county, that governor or that senator or that MCA or whatever their names are, being protected by the head. So what am I solving? Because the person is still protected anyway. What am I solving? I have to go to the head. You have to go to the roots. If you just cut the leaves, they still grow. You're not doing any justice. But before we continue, let me continue with reading some comments as well. So again, let me say thank you to everybody who is watching. Please keep on sharing and bring your comments as well and your suggestions, and we're going to read them. Somebody said, I don't know how I don't know how, maybe there was a spelling mistake there, but I don't know how you can continue with any discussion or dialogue if people like Kimani Ichung'wah, Kigithi, Gachagua, Malan, Oscar Sudi, and Makomen are in government. Oh, Makomen. How about the young people killed during all the Maandamano? What's government doing about it? And the ones are in hospitals. If anyone's following Eric Omondi, who put a call to ask for about 400 Kenyans to meet president for dialogue, have you seen that, Lydia? Okay, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that yet, but I think I'm going to check that. And then Arab Ure is watching. Do you know who Arab Ure is?
No.
He's a very big content creator.
Oh,
the
right.
one that does football thing. I'm sure because today's football probably telling us we're watching Get Out of There. So he's watching. So thank you very, very much, Arab Ure. Thank you very much for watching.
Yeah.
We can't take that for granted because he's a big shot. He has 1.4 million followers.
Wow.
Okay. President should not now make Kenya to feel guilty that there is no money, etc. Yes, because he keeps on saying there is no money, but yet the spending is too much. Steve Mulindwa, the fact is being told that now Kenya will suffer etc. Yet the resources was going to go to wastage and enrichments of leaders who have been paid 2 million. In Kenya, even using toilets in town, you're charged. So why should I pay taxes if I'm being charged to use the toilets? Should someone be prosecuted for saying Ruto must go? Because that also came to law the other day. I don't know if you saw it or even rumors going on. You know, there's so many things going around on social media. Sometimes you don't even know which one is true, which one is not. But something was going around that saying Ruto must go, you'll be prosecuted. So someone said that as well. Now Kenya Kwanza has started their propaganda of who is funding the Gen Z. But my question is, don't they have anything towards development that they have done? Why would the president be talking about 2027? The problem is Ruto has lied so much, and trusting him now is risky. Moreover, he has displayed arrogance, time without number. I do not believe he has the ability to tell the truth. Please, could you also address tribalism in as far as appointments are concerned? I will only read one more and then we continue. Hello, my people. Please kindly help me. Oh God, forget that one. Kenyan diasporas needs to be prosecuted on double and triple taxations, or needs to be protected on double and triple taxations. Okay, I'll continue reading again. Let's continue.
Reading those comments, something came up about trust deficit that I wanted really to contribute on. Even the process that they are beginning of reconstituting the IEBC.
Okay.
In my considered opinion, will not work because of the trust deficit they have on the president and his administration.
Yeah.
The reconstituting of the IEBC should come after the president has stepped down. Should come before the president. The resignation of the president should resign first.
Okay.
Then we should the country should reconstitute the IEBC.
Okay.
This is such a delicate and critical process that cannot be overseen by the president with all his executive powers.
No.
Because this is where Kenyans have always dropped the ball.
Okay.
When we are choosing this body that does a critical job of midwifing the elections.
Okay.
With the president, with his all executive powers, to oversee this process of selecting these commissioners and of the IEBC, nobody will accept to that. As we have always said, this is where the rain started beating us. When we put a Chebukati.
Yes.
When we put, I forgot the name. There was Isaac Hassan. There was I think Ruben somebody. This is where the ball is dropped. I mean, we attended some of the stakeholders meeting with the Chebukati when he was in the UK here.
Yes.
And I could read his body language that there was not going to be a fair election.
Even talking about that fair election, if I can just say something. When we had Huduma number, they knew already they did not want diaspora to vote. Because when we had Huduma number, they went to I don't know if you know what Huduma number is, but Kenyans will understand, will know what that is. They went to every city, almost, not all of them, almost every city here in the UK for that practice.
Yeah.
To take people's ID.
Yeah.
I did not do Duma number. Let me just be honest. I did not do that. And when it was time to vote, they said every single person must come to London. And they were like, but why? When we were doing the practice of Duma, it was a lot of cities. You guys came to a lot of cities.
Yeah.
So why don't you even do, even if it's just 5 cities?
Yeah.
So one here in the north, the south. So people have...
becomes easier for them to have access.
They didn't do that because they knew if these diasporas were to vote, they knew what they were doing. They knew where the vote is going to go. So they tried as much as they can. In France, I don't know if it was France or Germany, people were voting, they were outside, they were in a tent. They were not even in the embassy. And it was freezing because that time of voting was freezing. We even had to make tea for some people at the embassy. We had to make tea with our own money. What we did is we went to the queue and told people, everybody, give £1, collect money. So people collected £1, £5, this pound. So some people, when they registered, they never came back to vote.
All right, just the distance and the amount of money.
The organization was just too much. It was cold. There was no provision for people to sit. So people didn't come back because they knew. So the voting, first of all, was rigged before the rigging. You know what I mean? The first rigging was the voting itself. It was rigged before the rigging.
There's always something which I've told Nigerians this, and they disrupted. They didn't like it. And to a certain extent, I also told Ugandans. But Liberia has done it in Africa. I think Liberia, and I think, was it Liberia, Namibia, one of these African countries. The issue of involving non-Kenyans to be part of the electoral system, to be in control of the electoral system, to create some kind of fairness. Because if you have, for example, the chairman of the Electoral Commission is not a Kenyan, he's a British, or he's an American, or you find another commissioner who comes in from Namibia or somewhere like that. These people would be neutral to be holding those posts. Because you can have a policeman. Kenya has got policemen who are English policemen, who are commissioners. Even Uganda at one time, we had a police commissioner who was coming from Australia, you know, and I think Tanzania has got one who comes from Germany. You can have these posts and put these people there. Even in the elections, Liberia has something similar. It has said, look, we get Steve Mulindwa from Uganda, comes in and be part of the chairman of the Electoral Commission, and then we get other people from others to see that process, because that person is neutral, he's not from that country. Nigerians dismissed it when the idea came up, but now somebody has dropped in and say, hey, you know what, we are going to keep having the same process each year. Why don't we get somebody from abroad, you know, and see if this thing can work. Can this work in Kenya?
There has been a conversation about UN conducting our elections.
Oh UN. Sudan was saying something similar.
But the reaction, especially to those who want to rig the election in their favor,
of course, it's got to be.
There were all manner of reactions that we can't let people from outside to come and do business for us. Wow. This is our business.
And it should be. It should be. Because do you think America, they bring people from outside?
No.
Or even here in the UK?
No, they don't.
But the difference here is that because the system has been in existence for the last 200 to 300 years, it's perfected. Now, the African system is not perfected because it hasn't been in existence for, I could say, when did African countries start electing? 60 years ago, maybe Nigeria and so on. So the perfection which is here, even if the big man wants to, you saw Donald Trump trying his best, but he couldn't because the structure is there. He can't beat it. Now, as it goes on, it's perfected. Now, the African system has not been perfected.
Yes.
Yeah. That is why those on top are saying, no, we can't allow you to do it. We can't allow you. But before the perfection, if you get someone neutral and he stays there, you'll be seeing, he's not voting for anybody, but he's heading it. So what's wrong with that? If you can have a policeman who is a head of policeman who is from another country, why can't you have, you know?
Yeah, I think the problem is
it's just an idea. It's an idea that
it's a good idea to ponder.
Yeah.
But I just want to say thank you because we're running out of time.
Okay.
This is a very interesting conversation.
Yeah.
We're running out of time.
Yeah.
And I just want to say thank you to every single person who tuned in. Thank you so much for taking your time. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your contribution. And I just want to give a shout out to one of my friends who said, oh no, Lydia, I came back late. Agnes Mukami. Agnes, thank you very much. You're always following, you're always supporting. There's a lot of people. There's Juliet Makapila as well watching. There's Moses, there's Nyangi, there's, oh God, I can't read all the names. I'm so sorry. But I just want to say thank you so much for every single person who tuned in. We are back again here next week on Wednesday, every Wednesday. And I just want to give a shout out as well before you guys say your last words. I want to give a shout out to Mr. Jojo, my Mr. Jojo, my studio producer, my producer, Mr. Jojo, and my beautiful, beautiful producer as well behind the camera who makes me look beautiful when I come to the studio. Margaret, thank you, thumbs up. And every single person behind the camera, I say thank you very much. And also to Omega TV for giving us this platform to talk about matters that change life. So now, before I say mine, can you please say your last statement?
Mine, I think...
To the Gen Z,
Yeah.
the people of Kenya, and to the president.
Right. Mine is, this movement, Gen Z movement, is a movement of consciousness to some extent. And as a believer, the Bible says in Proverbs 14:34 that righteousness exalts a nation. And at Proverbs 29 verse 2, it also says, when the righteous are in authority, people rejoice. I want to say to the Gen Z, this movement, they can't do without the baby boomers, the millennials, and the Generation X, which is our generation.
Yeah.
They might have cut down the Mogumo tree, the tribalism, which was the biggest giant that has delayed this third liberation.
Yes.
But they should join hands with the three other generations. That's my part in short.
That's the Gen Z. What about the people of Kenya and the president?
From the people of Kenya and the president, if I were to advise the president, is that president dialogue this NADCOM committee and dialogue won't cut it. This is still going to continue. Please listen to the Gen Z. He's not listening, he's hearing, but he's not listening. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes, Steve?
Yeah, well, maybe 1 or 2 points that I can point out. We did mention the church leaders, and to me, I believe that somewhere there could be some neutrality with the church leaders if at all the Jay-Z and the other communities go together. But the structure should be that it's not just the Jay-Z, the youth. As you are saying, it has to be the entire communities of Kenya, from one community to another, to unite, and if there is something that's wrong, they come together to fight it, because that could be the beginning of the success of getting corruption out of the way. You know, that's one thing. Secondly, is that the co-politicians, it's very difficult for the president to listen, or the president to just bow down, because it comes down to show that you're probably a weak person to be in that office. You got to stand your ground sometimes and do that. But as we say, everything begins with you. So Ruto has a lot of work to do, especially from his own government first and foremost, before everything starts crumbling down. Because as you said earlier, everything starts from the top. If he gets the top right, then he can point a finger at the bottom. I did this, what about you? That will bring in a quick dialogue, because he said, I've done my part of the bargain. Now tell me what your part of the bargain is going to be. Because then he can listen, and advise, and then at the same time, he can also tell what the youth and others should come up with. But this should be a mixture of various people from the community, the church leaders, those community leaders, different religions, and the village chiefs, people that we normally don't involve in politics have all got to come together and create a structure that can stand, because without it, everything will collapse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And to the president?
Well, the president, all I have to tell him is that, as we have been saying, he has to listen. That's one thing. Secondly, once he's finished listening, he's got to make sure that he summarizes what he has heard, and then, of course, gets few of those who are concerned, few of those, as I've mentioned, those.
Yes.
The people that are going to be listened to, the village chiefs, the blah, 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 and then brings that up so that they all listen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. I can see somebody saying, can you add 30 minutes more? Sorry, we can't, because my producer is on my back. Come on, wind up.
Yeah.
So I just want to say to the Gen Zs, I'm really, really proud of you guys. The fact that you are tribal, you're tribeless. Because we've always seen in Kenya, the problem we've had is about tribe. We've always fought, this tribe is fighting this tribe, this tribe. That's why we've never won this battle. And also, you're leaderless. You're not fighting for who is going to be the president, who's going to be the vice president. That one, again, is because we've always fought, because every demonstration we've had is always about power. There's no power with you guys. So thank you for that. And also fearless. I've seen somebody was shot, and Larry went to interview them in the hospital, and they say they don't regret. Another was abducted as well, said he doesn't regret to do it again. So you're fearless. So thank you so much, Gen Z. To the people of Kenya, stop hiding behind the church that you're praying when your children are out there being killed and demonstrating. Get out of those churches and go out and demonstrate with everybody else, but peaceful demonstration. To my president, listen to understand, not to react. Until then, love you guys, and I always say it can only be God. So I'll see you next week on Wednesday, same time, same place. God bless you. See ya.